Enzo Tedeschi is the series creator of DEADHOUSE Dark, a new 6-part short film series on Shudder from Australia. He helped produce the found footage hit The Tunnel a few years back, and recently put together another anthology of short films called A Night of Horror, Volume 1. With DEADHOUSE Dark, Tedeschi attempts to tell an expansive interconnected story between these short 15-minute segments. How did it turn out? You'll find out after this. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights YouTube page and give it a like. Please share with all of your buddies. Click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. DEADHOUSE Dark is a 6-part series streaming now on Shudder. It's created by Enzo Tedeschi and directed by Denai Gracie, Joshua Long, Rosie Lourde, Megan Riakos, Enzo Tedeschi, and Rachele Wiggins. I'm going to give the synopsis of all of the 6 shorts in DEADHOUSE Dark, and then talk a little about my favorites and least favorites, as well as how they worked as one interconnected story. Episode 1, entitled Halloween, is a found footage style short where all of the actions takes place on a dash cam, as it follows a pair of gals who leave a party early and run into a car accident at the side of the road. While I kind of knew where this one was going, the way it plays out is quite clever, and because it's short, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I rather like the amount of story this one tells in such a short time, though. Plus, it's got a bloody, screaming woman all the way through it, so that's nice and creepy. Episode 2 is called No Pain, No Gain and centers on a high school track star who lost by just a few steps in the big race. When she's contacted by a famous Olympian coach with an offer to do an online training program, the track star leaps at the challenge, but is not prepared for the strange and dangerous lengths these lessons require of her. Again, I felt as if I've seen this type of story before. Still, I was invested in the character, and there is a nice progression from innocent training to morbid acts of twisted violence that make you understand how the runner would follow such a dark path. Episode 3 is called The Staircase, and it follows a trio of YouTuber ghost investigators as they enter an underground tunnel system and find themselves trapped in a stairway that may literally lead them to hell. The premise of following YouTubers into imminent danger has kind of passed, and it's been the subject of way too many bad found footage films. This one has some very rough acting and paper-thin characterization for its 3 characters. Still, the final moments are pretty harrowing and prove to be a nice creepy way of ending this segment. Episode 4 brings us A Tangled Web We Weave, and I kind of love this episode about a man who suffers from OCD and also has a pretty big rat problem. When he decides not to cancel a date with the woman he met online, the stress of the scurrying and screeching rats prove to be way too much for him. This one takes some diabolical turns and ends in a wonderfully twisted note. Episode 4 sheds light on Mystery Box, and by far it's the most vague of all of the shorts, but it also has the most ties to the other installments. A shut-in desperately calls for her mother to come home and finds a wrapped package on her doorstep. I like the sense of mystery at play here, but when the cards are all shown, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I can imagine folks finding this episode more infuriating than entertaining. The final episode is called My Empire of Dirt, and it's a doozy as a hospice worker tries to help a sick woman cope with her imminent death while also cleaning out her house. It turns out the sick woman is quite the hoarder, and it seems some horrifying things are lingering around in what she's accumulated through the years. All in all, I liked a lot of the ideas of DEADHOUSE Dark. Some of them are better realized than others. My favorites by far were A Tangled Web We Weave and My Empire of Dirt, as they have strong concepts and wonderfully unpredictable endings. The series attempts to tie itself to one another in various ways, utilizing some of the same characters, some of the same props, and situations that link one episode to the other. At some point in every installment, a character receives a mystery box or a surprise of sorts. In episode 1, the characters come upon a car accident with the surprise inside. In episodes 2 and 5, characters literally get a box full of mystery landing on their doorstep. In episode 3, the surprise is at the end of the stairwell, and the home turns out to be a place where the surprise occurs in episode 4 and 6. I don't think the mystery box premise is the strongest of concepts to vaguely hang your throughway for this anthology. The way the shorts connect to one another also feels unsure, and almost as if it were an afterthought. I kind of wish more thought would have been put into these connections, as I feel what was done added only a little bit of zing to this series, which is somewhat scattershot and all over the place in terms of subject matter and quality. Or just drop the connections altogether, because I don't think it was really necessary. The entire DEADHOUSE DARK series is only about an hour and a half, so even if you don't like all of the installments, it doesn't serve as a huge time suck. There are some solid concepts here, and a few of the episodes really deliver some strong horror. It's not the best series overall, but having watched all 6 in one sitting, it proved to be a nice variety of good and bad, yet overall slickly produced short horror. That'll be it for today. Please chime in down below in the comments and let me know how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own review. So guys, you know how YouTube works. I'd love to be able to dedicate more time to this channel. I'm not monetized yet, so if you want to help me out, remember to hit all the pertinent bells and whistles down below. Want some spooky comics to read? I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look out for. Both Gravetrancers and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, can be found in only the finest of comic book shops. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on my website, mlmillerwrites.com. If you really want to show your support, I also have a Patreon page at mlmiller. Look for the link to my Patreon page down below. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're